Hello again, I'm Stephen and welcome to Bits and Bobs in Photoshop. So today in this next tutorial I thought I would show you a couple of techniques I use to better match colours in Photoshop. When I'm doing a photo composition and I have a subject, in this case it's going to be our eagle, and I want to match that to a background, there's two different techniques I use. They're very quick techniques. There's many ways to do this kind of to achieve a similar thing in Photoshop, as in with anything in Photoshop. There's many ways of doing it. So some require a lot more tweaking about. We can go into our adjustments layer here, and there's many different filters we can use and things we can use on our image to make it better match. Now, but these two techniques I'm going to show you today are relatively quick. They're quite simple, straightforward, easy to remember, and deliver some really good results if you just take a little bit of time just to tweak around with a little bit of dodging and burning maybe along the way. The main thing here is to mention is, as with any photo composition and you're looking for images to use, always try and match the light source in. If you've got the light source coming, say, from this direction here, any image on background you want it to apply it to, try and get that same kind of direction. It will make your life a hell of a lot easier. It can be done. You can flip things around. You can use lots of dodging and burning and filters and so on, and bits of masking here and there to get it looking much better and to get it matching, but it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. And at this stage in our lives, we just want to get the job done, but we want it to look great at the same time. So for this colour matching tutorial, let's get stuck straight in. So I'm going to use this eagle. This eagle is by Matthew Schwartz from Unsplash.com, and the backgrounds we're going to use is this one here of the mountains here with the dark blue sky here by Martin Adams from Unsplash.com. We have this lovely sunset sea picture by Sebastian Gabriel from Unsplash.com, and this city scene with the kind of magenta purpley sky there by Yusuf Espagnoli from Unsplash.com. So we're going to match our eagle into each of these images. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is make a mask and extract our eagle from the blue sky background here. So to do that, I've already done this. I used a quick selection tool, and I already done this just to save a little bit of time on this video. So now with that done, I will get the move tool selected. I will click, hold and drag to our first background and place our eagle inside. Then I'm going to press Ctrl+T to transform, or Command+T on a Mac. Just make it slightly smaller here. Remembering not to hold Shift. I still make that mistake from old Photoshops. So hit return. That'll do me there. I'm not going to do a full composition here. This is just going to show the better colour matching options. So don't expect any. I'm not going to sit here and then start adding in shadows and start adding in reflections or going to town. You see the mask can be a little bit better in place. We've got some of the blue sky here and bits here and here. We can sit there and do that a lot more. I just want to show the overall matching of the colours. So first thing we need to do is get our contrast a little bit better between our background and our foreground or our subject. To do that, I'm going to use an adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to curves. Now what I'm going to do, in some cases we want this layer to affect both the background and our subject. We can get a nice good result doing that way. In this case, what I'm going to do, because the background is very dark at the moment already and I want to darken this bird significantly, it's going to make the background so dark we're not going to be able to see. So in this case, I'm going to clip this one. So I'm going to press on the clip there to clip the curves adjustment to just affect the bird. Now I'm going to bring the darks in ever so slightly, like so. That should do me about there. I'm going to bring the lights down quite a way to wash all the light areas out, maybe to about there. The mid-tones, let's have a look at the mid-tones. The mid-tones we can just take down slightly. So now that will do me. Then now our bird kind of matches the background ever so slightly better without losing too much detail in it there. So our bird now matches the overall contrast of the image, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve here. Now what we want to do is we want to go to our background layer, just there. We want to press Ctrl+J or Command+J on a Mac to duplicate the layer, or we can right click and choose duplicate layer. It's entirely up to you. We go OK just to get that copy. Now with the copy selected, we're going to click, hold and drag, and as you see, as I drag, the blue lines will come between the layers where we want to place it. We want to place it right at the top of our image so it covers over everything. Now we want to go to Filter, Blur and Average. Click on that, and what that does is it looks at all the colours in that background layer and makes a complete blur of that average colour across the whole image. So we end up with this kind of bluey, kind of green, blue colour, turquoise or whatever you want to call it. So now obviously we want our bird back, so we can simply do that by clipping our colour layer to our bird. To do that, we can press and hold down the Alt key or the Option key on a Mac, putting our cursor between the lines till that arrow and the square comes up, and just click. And now we can see the blue has kind of been masked to our eagle here. Obviously we can't see this, so we're going to need to put it into a blending mode. Now the blending mode is going to depend on the actual image. I always find that that's not too bad. In most cases, colour will work best here. So click on colour, blending mode here, and now you see we've got the blue kind of hue to match our kind of a background. Now what we want to do is, the easy part is just change, with this layer background colour thing still selected, just change the opacity, and as we move the opacity down, we bring back some of the core colours of the bird while still keeping the actual overall tone of the sky and the reflections in it. So with that done, I think I'm quite happy there. You can go again, this is going to depend entirely on your own image and your own what you want to achieve, the look you're going for here. So with that done, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a little bit of, obviously it's a little bit light here, it's a little bit light on this wing, it doesn't look super natural, so I'm going to do a bit of dodging and burning. This is where this comes in. So we can go over here and we can select our dodge or burn tools like so by clicking and holding here. They might already be selected like so, but I'm not a fan of dodging and burning like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a curves layer like so. Now with this layer selected, I'm going to clip this layer to my just to the bird again, once again, and I'm going to get the midtones, put a point here and just drag it down until it darkens my bird out like so. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to call this burn, because that is the dark one, and I'm going to select the mask on that layer and press Ctrl+I or Command+I on a Mac to invert the mask. As you can see, the mask is all gone black, and now it removes it all, and so wherever we paint with the white now, it will reveal from the mask underneath, making certain areas darker. Before we do that, let's create another curves layer, clip this one too by clicking here, and this time we're going to move it up and make it brighter like so. I probably won't use this one here, we're going to call this one dodge. I probably won't use the dodge here because I just need a bit of burning going on, but we're going to put it in there anyway, just for, sometimes it's nice if we need it, if you want to just get the edge of a wing or something, or you've got a bit of sunlight or a piercing light coming from somewhere, you just want to line up a certain area, but you get the idea. So I'm going to select this mask here on the burn layer, making sure the mask is selected. Now I'm going to press B on the keyboard to select the brush tool. We can go over here and set the brush tool. I'm going to make sure I have my hardness set to 0, so that makes it nice and soft. I'm going to maybe make the brush just a little bit smaller. The opacity I have set to 20%. I'm going to leave it on 20%. Remember, you can change this by clicking and dragging the slider, or you can press the number keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 along the top to make it like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, up to 0, which is back to 100%. So I'm going to leave it on 20% for now, and I'm just going to, with the white paint selected here, I'm just going to paint in bits, and as you can see, that's getting a lot darker underneath our bird. Now we can just darken in that area. This tail needs doing a hell of a lot, so I'm going to click and keep dragging to lay that. The more, obviously, one stroke is going to give us a 20% stroke. As we go over that, it's going to increase it to make areas much darker. Take that off there. I'm going to take this leading bit off here, and the wings at the back here, leaving that bit of the head. And as you can see, we're getting it much better. Once again, the longer you take doing this with the dodging and the burning, and just messing around with the opacity of the background of the colour filter here we put in, we could change this maybe now. We could make it a bit less, a bit more maybe. Something about, actually that's not too bad at all. How about there? But as you can see, our bird matches the overall colour much better. Now, that's one way of matching colours in Photoshop, but it doesn't always give top results. In some cases, we might need to use another method. So another way I do this is by using matching colour. So I go back to the move tool. I'm going to go back here with my bird. I'm going to click, hold, drag, and drop him into our second image, which case is here, like so. I'm going to transform again, Ctrl+T or Command+T on a Mac. I'm going to bring him up a little bit and about there. And to be fair, he matches this image much more. We've got the light coming here, which kind of feels more natural looking on his the neck there and stuff, and on the back of the tail feathers. Not so much on the inside of the wing there, but you know, we can always use the dodge and burn technique as from before. Like we've done with the curves layer. So first of all, we want to do the contrast once again. Now on this image, I'm going to create a curves layer, but I don't think we're going to need to actually use the clip this time. Let's just try and bring down the mid-tone slightly here. That looks don't look too bad. I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to drag this one across slightly just to bring that in a bit. I'm going to take down the lights slightly. And already, that looks pretty good. That looks good enough to me with the contrast between the bird and the overall light on the sea. That looks much better. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Image and then Adjustments. And this time we're going to go all the way. Oh, sorry, 1 second. We need to make sure our eagle, our subject, is selected. Whatever selected, we go Image. Sorry, Adjustments, and then down here to Match Color, and click on that, and we get this Match Color dialog box pop up. So now we need to choose our source document of where it's going to match the color from. So it's this background, so it's Sebastian Gabriel. Up here we see the file name. If we click this, we can see the file names we've got open. So it's Sebastian Gabriel Unsplash. We select that. And now we need to select the layer we want to do it. So we want to go like this, and it's the background layer. We know it's the background layer because it says down here, and do like so. And as you can see, our eagle now has turned very orangey looking. So what we want to do now is mess around with these sliders slightly. So the first thing we want to do is select the neutralize box. We're going to neutralize this a bit more, and as you can see already, it's kind of neutralized it a bit, knocked it down a little bit more. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the fade up to around about 50. I generally do it about halfway, and then you can always come back to this in a second. Now I'm going to turn the luminance down slightly, and I'm going to turn the color intensity down slightly. We can raise these as we go. So I'm going to leave the luminance up a bit, like so. Let's just take it down slightly more. And then the color intensity, let's move that color intensity up just to get the hue until we start seeing the red, slightly red more in him there. The luminance, we bring that up, we take it down a bit. It's just a matter here of just having a play around with the sliders here. We want to take this down maybe a bit. And as you can see, we're starting to get quite a nice result. Too much. Let's bring that down slightly. And there we go. As you can see, it's really turning out nicely. Once again, you can spend a little bit of time messing around with these sliders. We could sit there kind of for the next 15-20 minutes, moving these up and down, and all around. If you want to see what it looked like before, we can click on this and see that was our eagle when we first placed it in, and that's it now. As you can see, it matches much better already. And so when we're happy with this, we can click OK. So as you can see, either one of these techniques are very quick to apply and offer some pretty good results when doing our photo compositions. Obviously, what we could do now with our eagle layer selected. We could do our dodging and burning again. We could put our curves in again. We could click this layer. We can bring it down to darken it right down like so. We could call this burn, just so we know which is which, and then we could press Ctrl+I to invert this. And now what we could do is we could get our brush tool again by pressing B on the keyboard or selecting here. We're still in 20%. We've got our white selected down there, and we could just maybe brush in some of these areas here just to darken this bit, maybe just to darken this wing edge slightly here, maybe along this part of the wing, the thicker part of the wing here. You get the idea, and we can blend it in much better. And now again, you know, if we added in a few other bits, we could put in a slight edge into this. I often find another good technique here to bring the light out, incidentally, on the edge of the wing here. What I would do is I would select the brush tool. I would create excuse me, I would create a layer just above our background here, and but behind our bird. I would select a much smaller brush, and now what I would do is I would hold down the Alt key to get the color picker, and I would pick out, say, a bright part of the sun, maybe there, like so. Maybe it might need to be a bit, that's too light, might be a little bit darker, maybe that. I'm just looking down here actually at the actual color we're picking here, or you can look up here if you've got the color swatch open up here. Right, okay, I'm going to go for that. Now what I would do is I would slightly, just using the pen tool, I would slightly raise it to 100% again with 100% and sorry, the brush set to soft. I would just maybe paint in a slight edge there, maybe to there, and maybe, oops, sorry, undo that, and sorry again, I'm not happy with that. Again, I usually use a pen tool for this, which is a lot easier to get much better. And just fade that off there like so. Maybe something like that. Now, what I would do is I would go to Filter, Blur, and I would go to Gaussian Blur, and I would just raise the blur up of that so it's barely visible, maybe like, let me just add a blur to it like that maybe. And then in some cases I would lower the opacity slightly like so, just to give that kind of the edge, like the light is hitting the edge here. I'm not happy with this bit so much, but this bit on the wing here, you can really see it's kind of given that, it's embedded it slightly, and it looks like the direct light is hitting the back of that wing, and we're just seeing it spilling around the edge there, and that you can get some really nice effects. Again, if you take your time doing that. I would probably remove this part, to be honest. I'm not too happy with this part, but on the wing here you can just see it there. It does look really nice. So that's a way of color matching methods in Photoshop. So let's do that one more time. Let's go use this image now. I'm not too sure which technique. Again, you know what? To know what technique to use, whether to go into image adjustment and use the color matching, the match color here, or whether to use the blur average method. Either way, you know, they both offer good results. It just depends on, you know, what you want to do. It just depends again on like the effect it's going to give. There's no sure answer to say, you know, if you said to me, okay, I've got this image, I've got this background, I've got this eagle, which method, Stephen, is going to be better to use? Is it going to be method 1 where we use the filter and the blur average, or is it going to be method 2 where I go to image adjustments and match color? There's no sure answer to that. Try it. Try the first one, maybe the quick one first. Give that a go. With this done, let's go on here. Oh, sorry, no. Let's click on here and then go curves. And then what we're going to do is let's have a look at this, darken it this way first of all without clipping it. Now we're going to need to clip this one. Let's clip that. Let's just bring our eagle down slightly there. We're going to bring the lights down there, maybe the mid-tones down ever so slightly, not too dark here. That's fine. So with that done, what we can do now again is press Control with our background selected. Press Ctrl+J, Command-J on a Mac, or right-click and duplicate layer. We have the copy now. Drag that to the top. Now we're going to go again to Filter, blur average. That brings our colour out now. Now what we do is we clip that by pressing Alt and click in between the layers here to bring our bird colour out. We're going to put it into colour blending mode again, and now we're going to drop the opacity on that to match our eagle in a bit better, like so maybe. And now what we're going to do is above this I'm going to create another curves layer just here, and I'm going to clip that as well to my eagle, and I'm going to make it darker, and I'm going to invert the mask on that like so. I'm going to call this burn once again, burn once again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my brush tool, and with the burn, with the actual mask selected and the white selected, make my brush a bit bigger. I'm going to make sure the hardness is on 0%. The opacity, I'm going to press 2 and just bring that down a bit to 20%, and I'm just going to slightly brush in here. I'm going to put a lot more on the tail feathers here to really bring them a bit darker. What I could maybe put 40% on there and really bring that in underneath there. Maybe 40% around the edge in here, underneath the neck there, and then drop it down to 20% just to darken that edge of that wing up, and these bits up here and that top bit of their neck there. And under here we're going to drop it up to 30% now opacity. I'm using the number keys on my keyboard to change that and bring that in like so. And as we can see, once again, it matches really nicely. Let's try the other version. Now obviously what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't now sit there and you know, bin all these layers. I might, if I was happy with that, I'm saying, you know what, that looks pretty good. That looks good enough for my photo composition in this example, or this photo composition I'm doing here. I'm really happy with the result of that. If I looked here now and thought, you know, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if that's great or not. Maybe we could turn these off. And what we could do is let's actually get rid of these. Let's look at it in this. Let's actually do this. Right. Okay. So I could turn around and say I'm happy with that. If I'm not happy with that, what I might do is say, okay, I'm not really happy with that. It hasn't given me the best results. I'm going to select all 3 layers, and I'm going to just drag them into the bin like so, and put our bird back to normal. And now we can go to the other way. We can go back to our curves adjustment layer here. Actually, saying that, let's Ctrl+Z. Let's go back. I'm pressing Ctrl+Z, or you can do Command+Z to undo. Let's bring them back. We already are curve select. Let's just get rid of those 2. And we've got our curves still done to better match our contrast. So with that done, I can go to now image. Let's go back into this way, adjustments, and sorry, I keep forgetting to do that. I have our subject selected first. Image, adjustments, and match color. Now I'm going to pick the background is Yusuf Espanioli. There he is, and I want it to match the background much better. I'm going to bring the fade up more. I'm going to knock the color intensity right down for now, and the luminance right down for now. Let's bring the luminance up of that. The color intensity, let's knock that down somewhat. The luminance needs to go up a bit higher on the bird at the moment. The fade, let's look at the fade now. The fade needs to come up slightly. Maybe this needs to come down a bit. The luminance might need to come down a bit or up a bit maybe. Who knows? Yeah, that's not too bad. That's looking a bit better there. That's looking about right. Bring that down ever so slightly, and there we go. I'm kind of happy with that as well. So we go OK, and now our eagle better matches our overall image. As you can see from this, let's just turn the background on. So you get from this nicely bright lit image to something like this, where it kind of matches in the colour much better. So there you have it. There's 2 methods of matching in colour, and a little bit of kind of how I do dodge and burn, and also the little highlight on the wing, little highlight method there using the actual blur. I hope you've got something new from today's lesson, and now you can go ahead and get creative with your compositions and match those colours in much better and really make it look convincing. Again, spend time doing this, practice, get different subjects, different kind of colour backgrounds, different backgrounds, try to match them in the ambient lighting of the whole feel of the image, and yeah, get creative. So thanks for watching. If you've learned something new today, please leave a like and please subscribe. It really helps the channel out and I really appreciate it. So get creative. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.